Shalom, family. How we all doing? All praise and glory to the mighty Most High, our Creator, who is one. Always been one. Has never been a Trinity God, folks. We finally hit Exodus. Starting off in the Exodus chapter, the Israelites' oppression. We've just went through all of Genesis, and Israel has fallen underneath of the new Pharaoh, Ramesses. What you kind of ask yourself is, why are these people the way they are? Because they're created that way. God created evil first, okay? The land of Egypt brought you out of the land of Egypt. You got to understand that the word Egypt is slavery, folks, okay? Yes, it is a country, but the hidden meaning to Egypt is slavery. I was the one that brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. So Egypt is the land of slavery. But I don't really get it why Joseph worked so well with one of the pharaohs, and then the Creator gifted him, and now all of a sudden he's going to put a different pharaoh in the power that ain't going to take too kindly to the Israelites. So you got to ask, at this point in time of the story, now, what is it that the children of Israel have done? Because you don't clearly see anywhere written up to this point in time that it says that the children of God have turned against their Creator. They haven't done so. But yet, they're in complete oppression. You know, they're being suppressed by the slave masters. So, jumping into Exodus, this should also be an exciting book to go ahead and go through. So, these are the names of the sons of Israel who went into Egypt with Jacob, each with his family: Reuben, Simon, Levi, and Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin, Dan, and Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. The descendants of Jacob's numbered 70 in all. Joseph was already in Egypt. Now Joseph and all his brothers and all their generations died. But the Israelites were exceedingly fruitful. They multiplied greatly, increased in number, and became so numerous that the land was filled with them. Then a new king, to whom Joseph meant nothing. Now, isn't that sad? Come on. Joseph has just spent, a good part of his life underneath of the reign of the preceding Pharaoh. And he's got a new Pharaoh now that's in succession of the preceding Pharaoh. And Joseph has been a light to the Egyptians. He brought them food. He did great things. Now all of a sudden you got a new Pharaoh in office, and he hates a man that saved the people, the Egyptian people. It doesn't make any sense, does it? So, came into power in Egypt. A Pharaoh that meant nothing, the king that meant nothing to Joseph, came into power in Egypt. Look, he said to his people, the Israelites have become far too numerous for us. Why do you suppose that is? Because they're killing their own people, because devils eat their own, right? Hebrews, serving the Creator, follow the Creator's commandments and laws, okay? They're not murderers. Remember, Jacob, when he was blessing Levi and his other brother, off the top of my head, they went into the city and they killed everybody in the city because they'd raped the daughter, or their sister. So clearly this man, this Pharaoh Ramesses, has problems already with the Hebrew Israelites and just couldn't live you know, in a society that all worship the Creator, because these people, the Ramesses, don't worship the Spirit of God, the self-existing eternal Spirit. Come, the Pharaoh said, we must deal shrewdly with them, or they will even become more numerous. And if war breaks out, we'll join our enemies. Fight against us and leave the country. Oh, leave the country. So he's already not wanting them to leave the country. What's that tell you? He wants the Hebrews as slaves. He wants them to do their labor. Okay? So they put slave masters over them to oppress them with forced labor. And they built Pithom. Pithom. If there's anybody who knows anything about the Pithom, they built Pithom, Ramesses, as store cities for Pharaoh. Okay? But the only reason why I ask about Pithom is because it has pit in it. And I know that a lot of children were sacrificed into the pit of Moloch. Okay? But the more they oppressed, the more they multiplied and spread. You know, it makes me think of Hebrew men, or when they started the chain gangs and really had these people out there with sledgehammers beating down rocks. You know, no matter how hard the oppressors tried to take the spirit from the children who served God, who never turned from Him, whatever reason it was that they were placed into this slavery. We know that when Moses is coming into the story now, that he has a conversation with God at the burning bush, and God at that point in time tells him, now go down there because my children have sinned against me. But clearly the children of the Most High had to have already been sinning. So I screwed this lesson up and shut it down, and now the video's off on this damn thing, man. Against him, because the new Pharaoh came in, and Joseph and the new Pharaoh were not aligned with one another. So the Egyptians came to dread the Israelites simply because their numbers started to grow, and worked them ruthlessly. They made their lives bitter with harsh labor and bricks and mortar and with all kinds of work in the fields. In all their harsh labor, the Egyptians worked them ruthlessly. So now you know that Egyptians, folks, are the ghost nations. Okay? They are slave nations. This whole Bible is already showing you that it's coming into a slave world. Please, you got to remember that when the children fell from God, when the original sin came in, the one thing that was said between the Creator and mankind, Satan. When I say Satan, I'm talking about mankind created on the sixth day, because the Creator has telepathy that He speaks with. He moves. He uses the vessels, folks. Okay, these are empty shells. He just uses our empty shells. However, the Lord pleases to use them. All right. So the Egyptians is a slave state, folks. All right? And that's what Egypt means. It means slavery, the slave state. The king of Egypt said to the Hebrews' midwives, whose names were Ziphrah and Puah, when you are helping the Hebrew women during childbirth on the delivery stool, if you see that the baby is a boy, kill him. Now you see exactly how evil this rotten turd of whoever it is would be. This is why people have a hard time reading the Bible or believing that there is a creator or anything, that he would allow this evil. But when God created evil, he created all of it, folks. A great deal of it. Okay? People that were committing all of the sin. Remember, God is the one that created the evil. So this is why Ramesses wanted the boys to be killed. But if it is a girl, let her live. Why do you suppose that is? Because he wants breeders. Okay? And he wants to use them for sex. He wants to trodden them down. They're easier to handle without their men. Trodden down the women. He wants to break down the women. He wants to turn them into whores, slaves. He wants them to fall into their reality construct. He wants them to follow them into their evilness. Let them live. The midwives, however, feared God. Okay, so now we know that this here is a spiritual seraphim, the creator, in a sense, that uses. Why do I say this? Because let's read on. And did not do as the king of Egypt had told them to do. They let the boys live. Give me 1 second. And did not do as the king of Egypt had told them to do. They let the boys live. Then the king summoned the midwives and asked them, why have you done this? Why have you let the boys live? The midwives answered Pharaoh, Hebrew women are not like Egyptian women. Okay, what's the difference? Egyptian women, weak. Okay, Hebrew women, strong, healthy. Upright. But then I gotta say, are they? Are they healthy? Are they strong and upright? Because the Creator's punishing them. Early in the Bible, man, you're getting punishments going on here. They are vigorous, the midwives said, and give birth to the children before the midwives arrive. So God was kind to the midwives. So here you have a God again. God in this parable here would be Ramesses. Because Ramesses considers himself a god. Okay? They do. And this God here that I was trying to get to before I shut off my machine is Elohim. I hit the wrong button. And Elohim is many gods. It is plural. Of gods. Okay, and then you got this God here and this God here, lowercase gods, are both 430 in the Strong's Concordance. Concordance, because it's a con dance. That's what it is. Okay? So God was kind to the midwives of the people, and they increased in number. And because the midwives feared God, he gave them families of their own. Then Pharaoh gave this order to all his people. Every Hebrew boy that is born must be thrown into the Nile, but let every girl live. So that's pretty harsh, what's ever come into power here, this new Pharaoh. You would have thought that somebody would have executed him. I mean, here you got Joseph, who's second in command to the land. The Pharaoh leaves. Don't you think that the Pharaoh before Ramesses would have had some kind of conversation with Joseph, with the succeeding Pharaoh to come in? Don't you think that Pharaoh that was so close to Joseph would have said something to the succeeding Pharaoh that this man hears. He saved all of Egypt. He did what was right. Keep him close to you, and giving some kind of sign to the next Pharaoh. But it just doesn't happen. And then we're going to find out that a lot of curses are getting ready to start coming, because this is when the curses become in the Bible. Again, reminding everybody that the bloodline of Adam and Eve are what I would say the spirited man. But what happened is Iblis, Satan, the devil, that man that was created on the sixth day of creation, came into the garden and stole from Adam and Eve their rights. You see, the Creator created evil. All he wanted Adam and Eve to do was look and see how the Gentile acted and raise their children opposite of what the Egyptians were doing with all their pagan worship. Okay, you got to understand, paganism and heathens and everything were already created at the very beginning of all of this. Okay, God created evil first on the sixth day, which has everything to do with Revelations. Has everything to do with this Revelation 13:18. Okay? Here's a call for wisdom. Let the one with insight calculate the number of the beast. For the beast is a man, and the man's number is 666. Okay? Ministers and priests and pastors aren't ever going to do that to you. You look at everything that they sing about this number in the music industry, they're always saying beast, the number of the beast is 666. The number of the beast is 666. And then they leave this guy out of it. And they fail to tell you that the number of a man is 666, and that man is a beast. You understand? So they've hidden this line here with you. All right? So that was a real short chapter. In fact, the next couple of chapters are all going to be short. We'll be flying through these pretty quick. All praise and glory to the mighty Most High, our Creator, who's one God. There is none like him. Bow your heads and let's go out. Our Creator, the Spirit which moves all things in place. Please always keep your spirit upon me. Anybody stumbling across my channel, let them pray to you and cry out in your almighty power, your grace, your presence, your love, your wrath, everything that you are. I submit to you all that I am. Let others also submit to you all that they are. Please, Lord, let you put your spirit upon them. Let them see the truth. Let them seek you and find discernment. I ask all these things only in your almighty presence, my Creator, a Spirit. This is White Raptor News Ministries.